And is there anything else that you want to put on the agenda, Dawn? This admin?
No, not at this time.
Just the one that we have. I'm just
Just the
wondering.
agenda that we.
Yeah, just the
Oh yeah,
agenda
I'm
we
like, I
have.
thought you meant there was one other spot,
No.
and I'm like, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
Yes, no. Everything on the agenda is fine as it is.
Okay, anything from the board? If not, I'll ask for a motion to go on the agenda. Greg?
Move the ag service accepted and presented.
All those in favor?
In favor.
Thanks, Dave. Al, good? Okay, we'll have a look at the minutes of the May 6th meeting. I didn't find anything in there that was outside of what we did. Anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt those as well. Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Greg beat you to the punch there. All those in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, thank you. All right, I guess we're gonna go directly into 5.1. Service Manager's Report.
Okay. So, we have our harvesting. Woohoo! It's been a pretty good run. I think a lot of people are close to being done, if not done. I did see some combines in the field last night when I was driving back, so there's still a few people out there. We've got a few fields yet too, but it's coming. It's been a pretty good year for the harvest. We had our pond day on the 29th of May at the Nature's Alive Center again. So we had some really good station presenters, and the kids seemed to get a lot out of it. They enjoyed themselves. We had a couple that went swimming by accident in the pond. Luckily, they took off their shirts first, I guess. So, but we had really good turnout for that with the kids and our station people. Our Ag Service Board grant reporting has been completed, and I did our application for next grant cycle for till 2029, and we did get an additional $8,750 in resource management funding, so that would be for our conservation group projects. And that's the stuff that I apply for on behalf of Yellowhead County and the Farming Forward group that we're in with. On the 24th, I attended a meeting regarding biocontrol and the development of provincial consortium, and there was an actual meeting, another meeting on Friday, and I was not able to attend, but there has been a term of reference presented for that group. And I'll bring it to the next meeting just so we can take a look at that. And it's just basically supporting the development of biocontrols for weed control and such, and not necessarily financially, but in kind is also a form of support. So that's kind of where we're going with that.
So just a question on that one. With biocontrol, this means is there going to be some, basically R&D done then?
Yes.
In our municipalities?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot being done already on the different kinds of biocontrol that they're doing. I'm hoping they're gonna get one for Tansy pretty soon so we can Johnny Appleseed that thing everywhere. But right now, they're still working on it. But yes, if I would think being part of the consortium would we could be like test subjects perhaps for it, and
Be interesting to see if they have anything for Canadian thistle.
they do. There is a biocontrol for Canada thistle. I'm just not sure of the availability yet. That the problem was, like, when we were doing that project, because we did the stem mining weevils, So when we did that project, the problem was we couldn't source them in Canada. We had to get them from Montana, and then the overwintering was an issue.
Okay.
So they needed to be a little more robust Canadian bugs, not American bugs, apparently. So, so they have been working on that, though. I know that's one of the big ones that they've been working on. And it's more of a sourcing, a consistent population as well, because from Montana they would die off too, and they
Right.
wouldn't have the supply available, so we couldn't even get them at some points. So, yeah.
And they have to also be sure that they're specific to the
And
pest that you're trying to
that's
control.
part of the development, right? They have to do inclusion tests, or
Right.
exclusion,
Exclusion.
inclusion, whichever, so that they are, like, they would be put into a situation where there are cropping plants, so to make sure that they are not gonna go on to attack those plants,
Okay.
and only the weeds, right? Because we do not want to release bugs that would, say, decimate the canola industry. That would be very bad. Be kind of frowned upon, I'm thinking. So,
There,
we
it's,
don't want that.
thistle's not, Canada thistle's not considered a noxious weed, is it? Or
It is
Yeah.
not.
So do we have a program, like, cause you get rebates for, like, was it tansy or whatever, and
Oxide-daisy and hot
Oxide-daisy?
buttercup. Yeah.
is, but not for thistle?
No, we don't have one for Canada.
Maybe we
I
need
don't
to
think
start
we
looking
would,
at.
we would not have enough money for that.
What was that, Greg?
Well, to get a rebate to spray Canada thistle, cause then maybe you get more people doing it.
Well, there's another issue. The reason I brought that one up is because when I travel, and this is not just in this municipality, but on the numbered highways, they do a really poor job of managing those. And those things, you can really see the encroachment. You know, the farmer's been trying to manage that. And then, you know, when you go and see all of these thistle in the ditch, you can see it's all through the poor guy's fields. And I don't know what the answer is to that, but I think, you know, that seems to be, you know, we didn't have a lot of those problems until we started moving hay in this country. And now all of a sudden we've got weeds that we haven't had before, so.
And the oil company, you know,
Yep.
they're not doing their job anymore. You know,
No.
it's terrible how but it's not just them, it's the roads and everything too.
I think the amount of Canada thistle has kind of led people to be complacent about it.
Right.
Like, there's just so much,
Yeah,
right? So,
I agree.
yeah.
No, it's just really interesting whether, you know, there's, you know, once you get into some of this stuff, it's important that, you know, that it goes further than just the farm gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then too, if you can get a good establishment of a population of biocontrol, they will continue and they will expand too. So that's kind of an important part of that research and
So-
development too, so.
So, right now, this, you know, like we're talking about this, based on some of this stuff that the consortium is going to do. My question is industry and is industry involved in funding some of this stuff, like, you know, the oil companies, like Greg was saying, because I think that maybe we would have, you know, quicker, if we had more funding to do some of this research from some of the people that are actually affecting some of this stuff. Is that happening?
I'm not sure who all the partners are in the consortium currently. It is open to a membership right now. I didn't have a chance to read the entire TOR, but the initial what I got is there's a little thing saying you can become a member. I don't even know if there's a cost to be a membership or to a membership actually. But so I think they would probably invite other stakeholders, not just municipalities, because this is all being done through the Alberta Invasive Species Council.
Right.
So, and quite often they're connected beyond municipalities. So I would suspect that there will be other groups involved other than the municipalities.
Okay.
But like I said, I just got that information today, so I'll bring it in to the next meeting. And we can look at the terms of reference and everything and decide if that's something that we want to be part of. I kind of said we probably would be anyway, but I didn't commit yet. What else? So I had the teaching, the week at Olds College teaching again for that certificate course, doing the, the various different parts of the agronomy certificate. So that's always a fun week, but it also makes sure that my skills stay on top of things too, because I do have to know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to these people. So
I was curious when I was reading this, what is micro credential course?
So, okay. Actually, I forgot to even put that in there.
Because I didn't quite understand that one, and
So it's like a mini course, basically, and these were, they were commissioned by Cargill. And so it's like just a mini, like a watered down version of the full on college level courses. And I don't mean that to be negative. It's just they take out maybe some of the more technical stuff that doesn't
Okay.
need to be available, and it's specifically designed for their people, like for the Cargill employees, like what kind of things they would need to know. So it was interesting to work on those courses too. The weeds and diseases and insects, I originally wrote those ones, and then I didn't have to. I chose to do the development further on the soils, and there's an equipment one in there too, but I didn't have to do much on that one. So, but, yeah, it was interesting to do those, because it was hard for me to pull my mind out of, like, you should know all this stuff. But trying to go from a Cargill's perspective is like, oh, maybe they don't. So, yeah, it's interesting. That one. What else? Oh, August 12th, I attended the Managing Ag Plastics Through the Regulatory Approach. I don't know if was anybody else in that? No.
I missed that one.
Okay, so they're just looking at making it a permanent program. The regulatory side of it wouldn't be on the producer's end, it would be on the manufacturers and the sales end of things. So, and they talked about this last week at our Wood a Waste workshop. It basically would be like our bottle deposits. You'd have a deposit on some of the ag plastics just for the recycling end of things. Is kind of where they're going. It hasn't been determined yet, but that was the gist of the approach that they're talking about.
I see that there's NetWrap available now that's compostable.
Yes, they had some of that at that
Yeah,
workshop we went to.
And it's competitively priced.
Yeah, and I think he said that it will disappear within 2 weeks in compost.
Yep.
But it retains its, like, it doesn't, being on a bale, it won't disappear in 2 weeks.
No, it has to be environmentally immersed in
Yeah.
in a composting situation.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, that's huge.
and it's made in Alberta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that Case IH is involved in that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought so.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's made out of a plant starch, like probably cornstarch or something like that.
It's got a biodegradable component with conditions, so even if it's sitting on the ground, it still has between 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
That it doesn't break down, but the minute you put it into a composting situation, it breaks down within a month. This
Is
is
the price?
it's price competitive.
Is it?
If you think about the whole life cycle of
Mhm.
of what we have to deal with, so I think it'll become mainstream, so.
Yeah, and it looked very similar to NetWrap.
Yeah.
It was a little more stiff than NetWrap, because NetWrap's fairly
Yeah,
like pliable,
Yeah.
but this is a little more stiff, but
Yeah.
still, and he said it was feeding through the balers just like regular NetWrap, and yeah, and they're looking at doing other plastics with that stuff too, and I can't remember which ones, if it was like silage plastic or
The-
using that same
from what I've read is that they're really looking, because they have so much trouble with the silage or their wrapping, the silage wrap stuff. They're trying to figure out how to,
Yeah.
instead of recycling it, how to make it do the same thing.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with that, like with the net wrap is a different kind of plastic, so that's why they can't really recycle it as much. But it also has to be fairly clean.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the drawbacks are too. But, and they don't want, because like their equipment that they use to chip this stuff down is expensive. Like even a small rock in there can do some significant damage, so, yeah, but yeah, it was really interesting that the plant-based net wrap, that was kind of really cool. And then I think they were looking at doing some, like, into the consumable or the consumer industry as well, like onion bags, like the net bags that you get your onions in and those kind of things too, because they just have to slightly modify their process as far as how thin and the size of squares and stuff. So, but yeah, it was very interesting to see that stuff. I didn't even know that was available. So, yeah. We had our Farming Forward weed suppression trial plot tour in Sangudo. So I was one of the presenters and talking about weed identification and management for that day, and then they went out to their plot, and unfortunately I wasn't able to stay, but it was a good day. They got a lot of good feedback from the day, so that's excellent. We've been doing some surveys over the summer. We've been doing the grasshopper surveys, weather, soil moisture, crop reporting. Currently, Sherry is working on the club root surveys in canola, and I think we're down to less than 10 fields now, so she's close to being done with that stuff. We had our spraying program. It's pretty much nearing completion. We just got to empty out the truck, so we don't have a lot of stuff left to do with that except for cleaning out and just spraying out what's on there. So, like I mentioned there, we did have a couple of other issues, but my summer teams really just stepped up and pulled extra weight, so they were excellent this summer. Weed inspections, we did those as well. We did a lot of promotion in the Tall Buttercup and Oxeye Daisy program. We've got quite a few people that did apply to take care of that or take advantage of that incentive program. And we're still transitioning into the new citywide PSD program for inspections. So it's been a bit of a learning curve over the summer. It's not fully functional yet, but it's getting there. So we'll be working on that some more.
Peter, sorry to interrupt. I had a question for Don relating to that incentive program and how it might relate to Greg's comment about Thistle. So how much money do we put into that incentive program? And could you give a ballpark estimate of the percentage of those noxious weeds that actually get addressed? Would it be 20%, 50%, 70%? And again, how much what's in our budget for that?
So as far as the budget, I'll just look it up because I don't remember off the top of my head. But now, are you talking how much overall of the weeds are addressed, or of the people that apply for the program, how much are addressed?
Yeah, of the people that apply for the program.
So
how much money are?
In order for them to get paid, they have to spray. So we do
Right.
go out and look at the site and make sure it has been sprayed. And as far as how much is going into the program, sorry, I just have to find it in my spreadsheet. So we put in $5,000 goes to that program, and we should be fairly close to fully subscribed this year for that.
And so if a producer applies for the program and they incur costs of say $1,000, are they reimbursed $1,000 or is it a percentage?
No, it's per acre basis, so it's $15
Uh-huh.
per acre, depending on what they sprayed. If they sprayed like a residual product, then it is a $15 an acre payment. So say on like 30 acres, you get
Yeah.
$450.
And so does that cover the costs? I'm not familiar
No,
with what it
About
costs to
half.
spray.
yeah, it covers about half of the costs.
About half.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
All right.
but we don't
So
fully
it's a
cover the entire spray, no.
right. Okay. And then that last piece that might be hard to answer, but um, I guess what I'm wondering is how effective is this program? Is it reducing the amount of those two noxious weeds substantially or not?
I wouldn't say substantially, but to some degree, yes.
Okay. And it's, yeah,
Completely
for the amount of
honest.
money we put in, it's a good incentive for sure.
Yeah. I know
And-
this
and
year
you-
we had one individual who has had quite a bit of issue with oxide daisy that did spray and apply for the program, so that was pretty positive for me, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that info.
Sure. Okay, where were we? Oh, spray, our mowing. So our mowing is done for this year, and we're going to be doing the cost review again for presenting to council for an in-house mowing program versus the contracting for the 2026 budget. I don't suspect that the costs have changed that much over the past year, but I do have some new numbers that I'll be incorporating into that analysis.
What was the, I guess, response from the public? We had fairly negative last year of when and how,
Yeah.
and this year I haven't heard as much. And,
No.
And
Well, so this year they tried to start earlier, and I'm like, no, that's not happening. And so basically, I was quite firm
okay,
and almost jerk-like, but I was like, no, we're paying you. We
Yeah.
ride we're steering this train. So yeah, no, I didn't allow them to start earlier, and they did have a few spots where it was too wet, particularly in the Whitecourt area, because they were getting a lot more rain than we did up here. But I think for the most part, they got the majority of what they were to do. Like some of the full ditch cuts didn't happen just because it was so wet. And they were getting stuck and gonna just tear up the ditch. So I was like, yeah, no, not doing that spot. So, but for overall, I think they did a really good job. We didn't have any bridges damaged this year. That was a real big bonus. And yeah, they were right on, like they were pretty much on schedule for completion, and I think they finished the end of July was when they were pretty much done, so.
I just have a couple of, two producers asked me how come the ditch mowing was so late this year. And I didn't think it was late, but I think the fact that we had a lot of moisture, like snow moisture and stuff, so everything grew quicker in the spring, so that's why they figured it was late, but that was the only comments I've heard about the spraying. They thought it was later than,
Right.
because they both just about got smoked by deers because they couldn't see them come out of the ditch
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
that was the only comment I had.
I almost like having a little bit later in the season, because then it holds over through the winter. You don't get that regrowth, which is what happened last year, right? We went so early, and then
Yeah.
it regrew, and we were like, we hadn't even mowed. So, yeah. And then too, it depends on where you are. Like this year, we try to start in different areas every year, so
Yeah.
depending on where you are, it might be a little bit later.
Did they do Whitecourt first this year? I can't remember.
Yes, yes.
Did they?
Yeah. They started over on
I thought
the
so.
west end.
I kind of have like a little bit of biosecurity with them. Like I kind of think that they are dragging oxydaisy around. Like we didn't have oxydaisy on the whole mountain. They had it kind of down low, and it's slowly just working its way up all the ditches. And it's still only in the ditches. It's not really made it in to the fields or into the trees. So like, I'm pretty sure the mowers are what's moving it, like,
Could possibly be.
and like, they don't wash them ever. Like,
No, they don't.
so it's kind of like a
So
little
that's
bit of
something
an
we can-
interesting concern, but I don't know how you would.
Yeah, yeah. You start getting to wash it and then all of a sudden it costs a lot more and everything.
And even if we were doing it in-house, I don't know if washing it would be feasible all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It'd be interesting though to see what the timing is, because if the timing is late and they've gone to seed,
Yeah.
obviously that's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
So, monitoring where that is might be where the issues are, or where the
Do it
oxide
sooner.
is, might be something that we'll have to get into.
And then we can also spray, we can go spray out the oxide daisy, 'cause that's kind of, we've been using the mowing in conjunction with
conjunction.
the spraying. So it's not like we can't spray out the oxide daisy as well, because the chemicals we use are pretty good at that. And maybe it might be a timing thing too, like
Yeah.
the oxide daisy might have come up after we were in the area to spray, so, because we're finding that with some of the thistle, we have a thistle flush that came through and we're like, oh crap, we were there, but missed it, so.
Is it possible that some of that was transferred in the flood? Because I know we have vegetation around our place that we've never had before.
Yeah,
Well, absolutely.
very likely too. Yeah. There's so many ways that weeds can move though, like they can be on mud, on animals' hooves. Birds can pick them up and boop them out. There's so many ways with wildlife, with quads. People picking berries get stuff on their feet. Who knows? Like there's so many different ways for transferring the weeds.
Berry
But
pickers,
I know those darn berry pickers. So yeah, it's possible that. I'm not saying that you're not wrong. It is very
Well,
possible
I
that
know-
that is
I know
one of
what's
the ways
happening,
it
I
could
just
be.
don't think there's a way to
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a struggle. And with anything, like even doing road construction, same thing. You're moving dirt, right? And that's where the seeds
Well, those
going.
guys are supposed to wash their stuff.
Well,
though.
they're supposed to. Yes. If they do or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. Excuse me. Okay, so carry on. I've been working with the Alberta Provincial or ASB Provincial Committee as part of my first vice role in the Fieldman's Association. So we've been working on rules of procedure and terms of reference, which is what was discussed at that online meeting last week. And it will further be discussed at the regional conferences. Yeah. So we've been working on that. And then as we get into the process for the provincial conference, I'll be working on compiling and reviewing the regional resolutions as well with the committee. So a little bit of work to do that. I've been assisting our returning officer in the municipal election stuff. So today is nomination day. So we'll have our full slate of candidates after today at noon. So, and then going forward with the election into October, will be some more preparation for that. So, we've been reviewing many policies, job descriptions, department business plans, and that's going to continue, of course, as we move forward into our budgeting process. Yeah, the ASB PC webinar was on the 16th of September, like I mentioned, and the regional conference, October 6th in Thorhild. We're going to that. We've got some workshops planned with, I mentioned the what a waste, the on-farm management of carcasses, plastic waste, and wildlife conflict. So that was a really interesting workshop, some really good speakers for that workshop, and we had 25 people online and I believe 9 people in person, so it was like a hybrid workshop. So that was really good. We've got our Dig into Horticulture series coming up November 26th and December 3rd, and that's orchard growers, different fruit tree types and stuff like that. And we'll be doing the Bows and Bows again on December 13th. and we may figure out another workshop in there as well. Probably in early November, late October kind of thing. So. Ooh, we should do a Halloween one. That would be fun. What else? Next couple of months, we'll be working on the budget. I'm still working on the bale twine and grain bag collection project, so I'm hoping now that things might slow down a little bit, I'll have more chance of that. And also that potential advancement of the truck scale. I have not heard anything from Canfor regarding that, so, and I did reach out to them, so I'm hoping we'll get something back on that. Our in-service training is December 1st to 4th, in Edmonton, so I'll probably be going in on the 30th, November 30th for that. And that is all.
So is there any more questions for Dawn on her report? If not, could we have a motion to accept the service manager report as information?
I'll make a motion to accept the
Right.
Agriculture Services Board's manager's report for September 9th as information.
Any more discussion? Not all those in favor?
In favor?
Troy, in favor.
Okay, thanks, Dave. That motion's carried. All right, we will move right on to 7.1. Wild boar occurrence in woodlands in Lac St. Anne counties.
So, Hannah McKenzie has approached both Lac St. Anne County and Woodlands County regarding a camera project. So very similar to what there was a PhD student was doing. This is going to be more expanded, using the trappers as kind of the deployment team. So they're planning to start the camera deployment this fall. There's no funding commitment. We may need to do some in-kind, and more of the promotion end of things is what she's asking for. And so she's just asking for a commitment to participate in the program. There's a fact sheet there included in your package. And it's basically, and then there also is a letter going out. This will be the part that the trappers take out to the landowners. That's on, which page are we on here? Page 15?
50.
Yeah.
Neat.
Page 15 is the participant letter information, and then it's frequently asked questions as well. So she's put together that package for us to look at. I think it will be a good project. There's trying to figure out how much, what our population is in our county, because we absolutely have no idea, right? So I'm not sure how successful the University of Calgary's project was initially, but I think they're looking to just expand that to make it more of a long ongoing, instead of just a year or two kind of thing.
I was looking through this, and on the site visit part where they have, they go and check the camera and change the batteries. That's not necessary anymore, because some of the solar powered ones will work. We've had a couple of solar powered cameras out now for almost 2 years, and all we do is just pop the cards out, put new cards in, and for the extra price that they are in the wintertime, as soon as it gets cold, the battery operated ones do not record.
You don't work, yeah.
So just a thought. Have a look at those. There's a couple of different suppliers. I know there's a guy in Wainwright that sells those now. I don't know where he gets them. They come out of the States somewhere. So
Okay.
just maybe have her look into that, see if that's viable for them.
Yeah, I have no idea what their cameras are like that they're using, so yeah, definitely. I will put that bug in her ear and say, hey, maybe look at solar.
And just a clarification, Don, it says in the RFD that there hasn't been any funds requested for this to date?
No.
Okay,
No, there haven't been, because Alberta Pork did get a grant to do, wild boar projects. So that's where they've been working with this grant and trying to get the, I guess the hardware in place and get that all set up. Alberta Pork is also not responsible, but they are providing funds for the trappers as well. So, yeah, we're at this point, and also Alberta Agriculture and Irrigation has some funds available too. And so when I spoke with Hannah, I specifically asked, is there like dollar amount you need? And she said, no, we more need the contact part and us being a resource for people to call. So if producers have questions and they're not sure who to call, they can call the county and
Sure.
get some information that way. And then, yeah, just us promoting the program as well. So that would be like on our
Okay, great.
webpage and Facebook. Yeah.
So would,
okay, thank you.
so would there be, like, it would be kind of, the trappers would be the ones that would say, okay, to landowners, we'd like to, monitor on your property.
And the trappers have made a lot of those contacts already
Right.
in doing the trapping projects, so
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be much of an extension of what they've been doing already.
So what this RFD is just asking us to agree to participating with the monitoring project, right?
Yes. Just so we
I-
have that commitment.
I really don't see a problem with that because, we do have, we've caught how many in Lac St. Anne and Woodlands? It's been
For
a lot
this
of
year,
them.
it's over 200, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't remember her last
Yeah.
report that she had out, but yes,
So they're
they're there.
there, but we don't know whether we even get putting a dent in that population, so
Exactly.
this will help that happen,
Well, and so we've caught 200 for ease of numbers,
right?
but how many have not been caught? How many have been reproducing? Like,
Yes,
if they're putting out 10 piglets, we haven't really made much of a dent.
no,
So, and I don't know if they put out that many in the wild. I'm not sure what their reproduction rate is, but
so there is possibly gonna be a budget, piece of this that we'll have to address at some point.
potentially. I don't see it being a huge amount, and definitely not for 2026.
Okay.
No. They may come back later on. I don't know if they need to replace cameras and stuff, maybe, but at this point, no, Hannah said there would be no budgetary impact on us except for like the regular
Right.
inquiries about the wild boar and the project, and then our Facebook and website promotion of it.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion then that Ag Service Board agree to participate in the wild boar monitoring project as a collaborator. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, thank you, that one's carried. Okay, let's go on to Alice, 7.2.
So, Alice is a program that we've been hearing about. We heard about it at Parkland a couple years, was it a year ago? A couple years ago, about what they do in their project. It was at one of the regional conferences. Yellowhead, well, okay, the fieldman from Yellowhead and I had a brainstorm, and we're thinking we could combine funds because we don't know if we would have enough to just run our own solo programs each. Like Parkland has quite a large drawing capacity, right, where we do not have, both Yellowhead and Woodlands County would not necessarily have that. Initially, it may mean that we phase out and we have our own programs eventually, but initially, I don't believe we would have enough interest to run a program fully on our own. So, we kind of approached the Alice program. Christine Campbell specifically has helped us a lot, as well as our contact for Parkland County. And just looking at the costs, different ideas of what we would need to look at. So we've got an email that Christine had sent out, what kind of cost would be, like a salary range. If we did a half full-time or full-time per municipality, we could split that cost to 30 to 40,000 a year. We may only do a half full-time person between the two counties. We don't really know what that looks like yet, but and then there would be some training, some membership costs for the $5,000 a year. What you get for that is the Alice program does the fundraising for the projects for you. So they would be doing a lot of that, and they provide the training and all that kind of stuff. And then I did put together a brief summary of the Alice projects and what the costs would be. So that total estimated, oh wait, we did think about a half person between the two of us. All these numbers, I was like, oh shoot, what? So that half, that 82,000 would be half per municipality. So each of us would pay 41,000. So that, and these are very estimated costs because we're not sure fully where we would be sitting, but if we did that, we would be, I think, fairly comfortable in running the program. So we're thinking of trying to just use 2026 as the setup year, getting somebody in place to do the or to be the coordinator and going forward from that. So, and Yellowhead County is wondering if that's something that we'd be interested in doing. And then of course there would be, that would have to be added into the 2026 budget deliberations for council's approval.
Okay, I have just a question or comment on this. It's, being that it's farmer driven, have we had, people come in and say that there's some things that they would like to do, but they either don't know, they don't have the ability because they don't understand how to do it. Have we had requests? Over the years, probably about 5 requests, I would say. That's over my 24 years here at Woodlands County. So it's not been a huge demand.
What are they requesting?
Well, one fellow was just like, well, there's so many projects that Alice could be helping us with. And I'm going, okay, well, like what? And he didn't really have an answer. So that was fine. But some of the things, and I can't even remember specifics. It was so long ago. A lot of it was relating to riparian areas, though. Different projects in a riparian area. The one fellow that I'm specifically thinking of was, I think he's on the Little Paddle River down in Anselmo area. So that kind of stuff. Some of the other things that I wrote in that little summary, tree and shrub planting. Most of the stuff is going to be like just environmental kind of projects, right? Like the adaptive grazing or regenerative agriculture, like all those things are going to be more environmental, looking at it that way. Fencing.
Don, could I ask a question to that point? Excuse me. Would it be fair to say that part of the intent of this would be to subsidize some costs for producers who would be taking land out of production and or making it produce less for the sake of the environment?
Not necessarily. Yes and no, I guess I can answer that way, because some of it would be to get more production out of, say, marginal lands or lands that are not necessarily been managed very well because they're kind of not the best lands. So it would be doing things like, fencing off properties where they could more succinctly manage the paddocks, for example, like that kind of stuff. Doing grazing projects, definitely some of the things like, fencing off a riparian area, which is to the benefit of the producer because you're not gonna have a lot of, interaction with the animals in the water. You would have like an off-site watering system, for example, where they're not going to be going down into a creek. They're getting all the moisture into their hooves. You get less foot rot, and that like hoof issues for the animals. So it's kind of a, yes, it is environmentally friendly, but it also is to the advantage of the producers too, I believe.
Sure.
So, and then it
That
would be,
that's similar to that Athabasca Watershed Council's program to encourage producers to not have their animals come down to those riparian areas. And so there's grants available for pumps and troughs and that sort of thing.
yeah, very similar, yeah. And it would just expand out, not only including just the riparian areas, but other areas as well, so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good question too, Al, because, you know, when we were at the conference in Lethbridge, there's the provincial government's putting a big focus on water management now, which, you know, is part of, you know, taking care of the riparian areas, making sure even as municipalities that we don't direct water directly you know, into streams anymore, that we utilize those areas. And I think this is where the ALICE program has some huge potential.
Yeah.
You know, the reason I asked the question of, you know, what has been the request here is to kind of find out, have we had any? And is that because we haven't educated the producer on some of the things that are coming down the pipe? Or, you know, what is that? So, you know, I think that at some point in time, we're gonna have to really entertain the idea of looking at some of those things. So, you know, I guess it's, you know, I'm open for discussion on this, whether or not we should ask for, you know, some budget to be put in that direction already. Whether we use it or not right now, in the building stage may not be, we may and we may not, but I think for the service board here, it's up to us to decide, you know, is this something that we think is going to have some value in the future?
Yeah. And Peter, if I may, so what I hear you saying is that like, let's be proactive with this, and we're not exactly sure where it's going to go, but the potential it has for things like meeting the provincial standards that might be changing, this would help us get to that place.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I appreciated the question, because it kind of sparked that thought process.
Sure. Okay.
And good point too, Peter, like we haven't been promoting the program.
That's right.
So a lot of people probably don't even know about
Don't
the
know about
program.
it, yeah, exactly.
Right?
So that would be kind of the first stage.
Yes, yeah,
Mhm,
for sure.
yeah.
Like, no sense launching a program nobody knows about, right? So that's where I think bringing that person on board as like the coordinator, that would be first primary goal would be promote the program so that we get people taking part, because we don't really have a program if people don't take part in it. So,
Well, in your question, Al, like even on our own farm this year, we've discovered like my oldest son manages his pasture quite differently than I do, because he hasn't had the years of understanding. And you know, there's certain times of a person's life where dad's not all that smart, but I will have pasture probably until, I would say, mid-October, because I really spend a lot of time managing those areas, and how, because the lower areas produce differently than, and we have exactly the same number of animals and exactly the same number of acres that we use. So, and they're just across the road from each other. So I do understand that there needs to be some work done in those areas. So, you know.
Yeah, but you got a lot more rain, Dad, than he did.
Across the road.
That's exactly what he said to me. And I said to him, I said, so how much did you get in your rain gauge? And he says, I don't have a rain gauge, so.
Interesting.
But I think this has some value, but I think it's up to the board to decide whether we are going to go down that path. And then I guess it has to be in the budget. Ryan?
My other thought, I guess, is a partnership actually gonna be advantageous to us or not? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, are we better off to just launch this program on our own or not? Like, I mean, I deal with Yellowhead County on 2 other boards I'm on, and sometimes they can be a little bit different.
Perspective on things?
Yeah, where they wanna spend their money and where other people wanna spend their money are not always the same. Like, I just don't know if the partnership would be better for our producers or worse. I'm not sure. Cause if we're gonna just run a half program,
Well, we wouldn't mean just running a half program per se, just the time commitment for a person would be, it not be a full-time position to
Yeah.
start, right?
but I could see like someone that like, this could be like an awesome like mat leave job almost, like for someone that's maybe went to university, got an agronomy degree and only wants to work a couple days a week. Or someone on the other end that's retired, like,
And two, with the partnership end of things, it's run by a different board, right? Like you have producer members on the board. Definitely we would have like a representation from like a member of our Ag Service Board. And then both the fieldmen would be there as advisory, not as voting. And then we would have other members as well. So maybe we'd have like a council member and one of our members at large from each, and it would be equal that way. So it wouldn't be like, I don't think we could predominantly say it would be Yellowhead County driven.
okay,
I would hope that would not be the way.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how strong our membership is too.
yeah.
Is it more, the reasoning behind it more is for financial? Is that kind of the?
Yeah, and to make it an effective program, like, if we don't have a lot of interest right now, we don't know what the interest is going to
Yeah.
be. So initially, if we don't have a lot of interest, then we've got a person coming that's doing nothing. And we don't want that, so
Sure.
it's partially
and
both. It's
conversely-
financial, yeah.
Sorry, Don.
No,
And conversely, if you find that halftime position is being overwhelmed, then you'd be looking at making adjustments. And I think Ryan brings up a really good point that it's always nicer from a control point of view, if you will, to not have a partner. But perhaps this partnership will allow us to evaluate it and then make some more long-term decisions where perhaps we do go on our own and put more funding into it.
Well, I think that's exactly what you guys had a conversation as field people with Yellowhead. From what you said was that neither one really has the knowledge yet, and if we do end up having to run the program ourselves because the demand is there, then so I guess just to bring this discussion to a head then is what are the thoughts, like, because Al and Dave and I are the ones that are going to have to go to council and convince council that there's another $41,000 that we are going to have to put into the budget for a program like this. I think there's huge value in it personally, but what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I think we should I think it's worthwhile to at least see what comes of it, you know, and give it a try anyhow.
I think the biggest difference between this and like the current programs that we have, like RDAR and all them other ones, is those programs are pretty good, but there's no one leading anyone into them. Like you have to really take it on yourself
Yeah.
and have a full understanding of it and fill out all that paperwork and put out a pile of money up front to be able to do any of it.
Yeah.
Whereas this Alice stuff is a lot more, it's the same exact book, like they're the same concepts, the same everything, but they're just, you're willing to, the county's basically gonna fund this person that goes around and implements it and helps hand it out in a smaller spoon, basically.
And then we would also have a lot more on-farm contact too. So that person will be going out to the producer and saying, okay, let's talk about your project, and get a lot more intimately involved in the project that way too. So when that coordinator brings it to the board, like the board that's governing the Alice program, they're able to say the details of the project, but they do not get to vote because that would be contrary or contradictory. So they don't get a voting kind of thing, but they can help the producer present their project. So, yeah, so they would be working very closely with the producers too. So that's a good thing for the program. Whereas RDAR is kind of
Yeah,
a little bit arm distance.
it's arm's length.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I guess the question for us is, you know, we've seen what this is gonna cost or what it is, so, you know, it ends up going to council anyway, and that discussion will happen there. If we are going to go down this road, we probably need a motion to start.
I can make that motion, Peter.
You're willing to make that motion?
Yeah, and of course, you know, before I make the motion, I can't speak for Dave because I haven't heard him on this, but Peter supports it. I support it. I'm assuming Dave does, but we don't know whether the other four members, and we don't even know whether Peter and Dave are gonna be on part of those discussions. But in principle, I definitely support it. So I'd move that the Ag Service Board recommends expressing interest in partnering with Yellowhead County, as well as including the costs for the Alice program partnership in the 2026 budget deliberations.
Okay, any more discussion on that motion? If there is none, all those in favor?
In favor.
Anybody opposed? I haven't heard from Dave.
He's getting the coffee.
Anyway, the motion is carried.
And I hope to have a lot more succinct numbers too when I go to council with this for the budget.
Yeah.
Like I noticed in Christine's information, they would waive that for the $5,000 for the first year, cause that's your setup here. So, and then I'll also talk to, Jen at Yellowhead County and just see where they're sitting, what we're looking at for, budgetary numbers too, so. get
Well,
some more
you know,
of that.
the other part of this one is, as well, is that, you know, this is specifically project, you know, it looks to me like project orient, but there's a communications piece that's gonna have to go out to make sure that producers are aware that there is some management strategies that they could employ to
Very much so.
do a better job, so.
Yeah, very much so, and that will be, something we'd have to coordinate with Yellowhead, so we're putting out the same information
Okay,
as far as communications and then of course working with our communications person too. Yep.
right.
You bet.
Okay, so, I guess now, Dawn, you have some budget comments on the 2026 budget?
So this is extremely preliminary. I have to have the final budget done by Friday, but, I haven't changed a whole, obviously now I will have to include the Alice program in there. to add that to the budget. But as far as anything significant, I don't foresee, like, our increase in the budget, the grant, ASB grant has been incorporated into the budget for the next year, and then we also need to do a 3-year projection, so I'll add that into there as well. Our water sales, we're sitting, where are we, actuals, so these actuals are to the end of June. Unfortunately, we didn't have anything more current than that, but I do now, I didn't put it into the new version of this. So halfway through, I think we're still sitting pretty well. We'll be going through, and I've proposed what our forecast is going to be for most of the projects. I think we will be fairly close. There will be some, the wages might not be as much as I initially thought, but that all depends on a few things, so.
There's no cost of living on the wages?
So this year we're reviewing our wages, with council, and so there may be a change in that. Our wages is all done by our finance department, so
Oh,
I
so
don't,
we'll
I
get
don't
it.
dictate that at all, unfortunately, so I can't give myself a raise just 'cause I want to.
It's too bad.
I know, it's not fair, no. Yeah, so the wages and benefits, those are just numbers that, our director of finances, I can't remember what his title is. Anyways, John will do all those wages and stuff like that, wages and benefits. I do have in the general administration, that's going to include things like, some of our office costs, the vehicle equipment rental, that's the county vehicle usage, that we have for, our trucks. When we get down into, so the building maintenance, that's just some of the stuff that's associated with having our buildings that we use for storage and such. Our professional development will include things like, the conference, our in-service training, those kind of events, any additional training and education that we need to have done. As far as safety, that's all included into that area. And then I have the Ag Service Board, so these costs are for our members at large only. Council has been removed from these costs to be incorporated into the council budget. So that's where these costs are at. Oh. One thing I need to know, we haven't got all the details yet, but there will be a summer tour next July in Strathmore. It's mid-July, I can't remember the exact dates. But is that something that you members would be interested in attending? Because I would probably need to add a little bit in the budget for that to go. I believe it's gonna be 2 days is what they typically are. So we may have to add that into our budget.
You ever went on one of those, Greg?
Huh?
You went on one of those before?
Yep.
Yeah, it might be really interesting.
Very
That's in
good.
Strathmore.
It's in Strathmore, yeah.
Interesting to see what their service boards are doing in some of the
They
different.
usually have something that's in their municipality that's different from everybody else, like what they're promoting or whatever.
Yeah, so you hop on a bus and you go to all these different sites and they try to
Yep.
pick out things that are kind of unique.
Years ago, I went on a couple of those and they were really interesting, actually.
They are excellent. It's also a really great networking
Yeah.
opportunity too, to talk to other municipalities. So if that's something, we could add that into our membership and conference fees for that.
There was one thing that I thought about when I went through this, and that is that we really need to nail down that scale thing to find out what our commitment would be
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Because, if we don't get it into the budget, then, we may be scratching that out of something else if we get some kind of arrangement. So I would really like to see, you know, what the different scenarios would look like. So if you could push them into that conversation, there's a couple of things that, you know, we could entertain. One is that, under their current guidelines, they are required actually to move that scale annually. If they only,
I thought it was every 4 or 5 years or something, it's annual.
my understanding, it was annually that they had to. So if we were to enter into an agreement, we may be able to keep that as a permanent site, which would benefit them and benefit us. And down the road, maybe that would be a place that we could, it's a great spot. I've used it, so.
Well, I went to use it the other day, but they're not using the scale right now, so
Yeah.
I couldn't use it, so.
Yeah, and you just missed.
Did I?
Yeah, you just missed it, so. But I mean, it is, I mean, I can see that once we have an agreement there, and we figure out how we can manage it, it will get used.
Yeah.
Is that your sense as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely.
So, and I think that there's, you know, I think that I have no problem with the user fee because,
No.
you know, I saved myself a pile of money just by having that close, so. Just a thought, Don.
Yeah, oh, I had reached out to them, but I have not got any response
Okay,
back, so
yeah.
I don't know where we're sitting with that at all. Is there a number that you think I could put in?
Oh, God, no.
Ah,
No, but you know, even if we have that number, if we get cost recovery, then we have a cost recovery
Yeah.
that we can say to farmers like, look, you know, here's this opportunity. What would you be willing to pay to use the scale? Like, we're kind of in a spot now that we can't make a decision one way or the other. And the other thing is that I think we should be helping Canfor or whoever is using that scale out to, you know, alleviate some of the things that they may be having problems with there. You know, if,
Maybe a stop sign at that thing,
yeah, exactly.
because they don't do that. I just about got it for
Oh.
one the other day.
Oh,
Yeah. My
I,
tractor and baler, he just,
like
Truck-
when they're entering Horse Creek Road, they have to
No,
stop
no,
sign.
yeah, but they don't
Oh,
stop
on
and
the
then
scale,
they pull
Okay.
way out.
oh,
And my side, and I was going with the tractor and baler and I was right over and the truck, he didn't even stop. I thought he was gonna stop, but he didn't stop. Pulled way out. And the truck missed me easy, but them big logs that were coming around,
yeah,
like 5 feet maybe. Yeah.
Hey, Peter, just wanted to jump in on this conversation. Coming back to the budget, a couple questions. One is, do you think that site, the Canfor would want to make that a permanent site, or do you think the nature of their operations is that in 5 years they might want to move it? And the second thing is, considering that the budget isn't going to get passed until December or so, Don, would it be helpful if maybe Dave reached out to Tom or Marcel from Canfor and just said, "Hey, we're trying to come to a conclusion on this," or would you rather us not do that?
that is a loaded question. I don't know. Like, I have the contacts with them. I just haven't. We haven't been communicating that well, and it's not fully on their end either. I'll give them that because it's been a very busy summer. So, I get. You know what? I can try to reach out to them again,
Sure.
and if I'm not getting anywhere, then I can say, "Hey, I need a little more. Somebody with a little more power, maybe." How's that?
well, and I guess to your first question, Al, I think that that is another part of what, you know, Don should maybe, you know, talk to them about is what are they projecting? Because right now I know that they're using that every year. It's so, you know, that's to answer those two questions. Like, I wouldn't be able to answer whether they're going to use it in 5 years. You know,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just kind of I feel sorry for Don, because if we now say, hey, you know what, we better put another $50,000 into this budget, like maybe this should be an infrastructure item.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because it'll end up there.
Yeah, and it's not really Don's responsibility to manage the installation of a scale.
Yeah, so I guess on that point, maybe Don is get Jeff involved.
He's aware of what's been, we've
Yeah.
been doing, because essentially agriculture services is infrastructure services too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
even if it goes to infrastructure services, it'll probably still come back to me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No, and that's fine.
I,
It's
I just don't think it should be in this budget, is what I'm saying. I don't think this is an ASB thing. I think this is a Woodlands County infrastructure thing.
fair.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, Al, because I think that there's other people other than agriculture that would be using that scale.
Sure. And of course, industry is, right? So, but yeah.
No, I think it's bang on. So that was just the only. I guess just when I was looking at the budget, I thought to myself, maybe this is something that we need to really bear down on, just so we know.
Yeah, and Dawn's the point, obviously, because she's the one that's been working all the way through it. I just think at the end of the day that our board shouldn't be compelled to put, 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever it's going to be into this budget. I think it should be then referred to infrastructure for a capital project.
Yep, agreed.
And I can have
So-
a discussion with Jeff too.
Sure.
Okay.
So Don, when I look at the budget, like the bottom line there, last year's budget was 507 and this one's 508. We're talking about another 41,000 potentially for Alice and maybe some wage fluctuations. But I think you've done a really good job of going department by department and keeping things pretty status quo.
Thank you. There were a couple other things and I can't remember for the life of me what else we had talked about.
When do we
I'm pretty
review the
sure this will come
rentals?
to us again once you get it to the final
Oh,
stages.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
What time of year do we review the rentals?
Usually in the spring, because we did do the rental reviews this spring, and we decided not to change anything.
Okay, so is there any more questions on the preliminary budget comments?
And if there's something that comes up that I have not mentioned in this conversation, I'll just send you guys an email, just so you're aware that that's something. Because I had a list and it's on my desk and can't remember for the life of me what it is because my photographic memory is failing me right now. So I can definitely do that. But I know the scale was one, Alice was one significant piece, and the tour. So, yeah. But other than that, I don't foresee a huge change in the programming going forward.
Okay, so can we have a motion then to accept that as information?
Yeah,
I'll make that motion, Peter.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Al.
That was Dave.
Or Dave, rather. We're kind of a seance here. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, that motion is
In
carried.
favor.
In favor.
The next one is the Service Board Provincial Resolutions, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I did not go through all of them.
What?
You're gonna lose it, though?
I
Do
did,
you know how long it's taken us to get? No, I'm
I
just
did
kidding.
go through some of them. The one I found really interesting was the drought and the livestock, the agri-stability one, which, is really interesting. But, other than that, I'm going to be complete ignorance on.
So I had a question, Don. When I went through the report, I see it's broken down by county, right? Each resolution as to how everybody voted, and some of them were not resolved from Woodlands County. Some of them were responded to, etc. And can you just help me understand all those ones that are not resolved? Where does our ASB stand on those ones?
I think, to be honest, Al, what we talked about in terms of when they sent out the initial responses that we had received thus far from and what the provincial committee had determined was resolved or not resolved, the board just decided that, that's the provincial committee, they're representing all the Ag Service Boards, so we would agree with what they had said. If they weren't resolved, it was likely because we hadn't either received the information or the information that they provided was not fully, it didn't fully answer the question or the resolution.
Okay, so
And, sorry. go
so
ahead.
you answer that, but you're not in opposition to it. You're not looking for clarification. It was just how we sit on it.
Yeah, and so, like I'm looking at which one is this? Good night here. 125, the drought and livestock agri-stability. So we got a response, but our response was that it was responded to in part. So they didn't
Right.
fully address all the requests, like in the further be it resolved kind of, and therefore it be resolved portions.
And so, yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
it's the next box. It says follow up and provide updates. What does that mean?
So that will mean that from the provincial committee's perspective, we will send further correspondence to whichever department and try to get more of a definite answer, more of a complete answer from them. So that's basically, yes, just saying, like those counties that say that are saying, yeah, we need to follow up and contact them more and just get more information in terms of their response.
We being the provincial committee.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, if nobody has any other questions, I'd be prepared to make a motion for the recommended action on this.
Okay, Al moves this one, so, is there any more discussion on that one? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
In
In
favor?
favor.
Okay, that one's carried as well. Okay, the 7.5.
This one is almost a moot point because
was
it was
just
the
gonna say.
webinar that happened,
Yeah.
so, and we've discussed that already, so I don't know if we need to. We should have removed that from the agenda, honestly.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's gone by because of the date, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and everybody was aware of it, so if you wanted to register, you could.
so how do we handle this one? It is part, do we just say there's no motion to be made on that? Cause really, we can't.
Can we just change it to accept as information?
Okay,
Is that,
okay, I'll make that motion.
Or you can make it into your adoption of agenda as a removal.
Right, yeah.
You can just, where you adopted your agenda, you can just remove that 7.5.
Okay, yeah,
And
Okay.
then that'll just take care of the whole thing without doing another motion.
so we just amend the motion for adoption of the agenda.
You would just amend your adoption of the agenda, yeah,
To-
to remove.
to remove 7.5. Okay, so,
Cause then you're already having it in one motion and then now you're not having to give another one for this
right,
one.
okay. Okay, so let's do that then. So we have to have a motion to it.
No,
At
because
all?
Greg has already motioned to the adoption of the agenda, so
Okay, so we just, okay,
give off of Greg's motion.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well then, let us go to the VSI second quarter report. See, we've had a real uptake in,
Yeah, I see that too.
use. Where is that now? And all, 10 of the 15 have had increases in their second quarter costs, so I think there's a trend there.
I think overall we're sitting okay though.
Yeah, we,
We still have funds available, but we also still have funds that we didn't send them in the budget.
okay,
So, cause I had budgeted for 32,000 and we didn't send all of that. We just sent what the request was.
okay.
So we kind of have a cushion. So we'll be okay if we get, higher numbers. This is the second quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is, Ryan, is there a reason that the second quarter would have more? Do you think?
I guess a lot of people spring calving, I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be.
Price of cull cows was really high in June, so there might have been a lot of preg checking, I guess.
Okay,
And typically we have, I think the second quarter is typically higher
typically. higher.
annually,
Yeah,
not just this year, so.
Okay.
Even those,
so are there any other questions on this, report?
Also, this included that, the back charges that, remember we talked about
Oh,
that
yeah,
at the
yeah.
last meeting?
Yeah.
So that's also included in there
And that
too.
wouldn't have been in the second quarter, that
Not
would have been,
typically, no,
Right,
no,
well, that would be the biggest reason why.
yeah, yeah. So, but like when we discussed that at the last meeting, I did mention that we have that extra money, so if we need it, we have it and it's, but was explicitly told that is not to happen again. We're
okay.
not gonna go back 2-3 years,
2-3
whatever
years.
it was.
And who was that?
Well,
Marathon.
it was
Marathorpe?
yeah, it was a Marathorpe vet, something had been misplaced or something and
Yeah.
so,
Well, they can't get their billing straight. The Whitecourt Clinic and the Marathon Clinic operate separately, but they're the same vets. And depending on where you
Where they come
call,
from.
where you booked it at, or what time of the day it is, they wanna bill you from different places, and they even have separate accounts for each clinic for the same customer. It's like quite the mess.
sounds like a gong show.
Okay,
It's a mess.
okay. Any more discussion on that? 7.6.
I'll make a recommendation that the Ag Service Board accept the BSI second quarter report as information.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
In favor?
Okay, that one's carried. Still there, Dave? Okay, let's go to the Northwest Regional Conference.
So, our regional conference is going to be in Thorhill this year, and it will be October 6th. And the registration was to be completed last week, so I had kind of polled everybody and said, do you wanna go? And everybody who responded yes, actually, everybody responded yay or nay. So those who responded yes, I did register. So we are registered to go,
Okay.
and I did send out the draft agenda.
We could actually carpool to this one, though.
Okay. Except they're probably go to Westlock, but,
I
you know.
could
it's
actually
okay.
meet you at Barhead.
Sure. That would be fun.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, so it looks like a good day, and it's probably gonna be Ukrainian food, just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
So, no, it looks like a good day from the draft agenda that was sent out, and the registration is complete, so this is basically a ratification of that motion, or that attendance that I did.
So everybody on the board was going.
No, there was, I believe, 2 people that were not able to attend.
Oh. Okay,
I believe 2 or 3, I can't remember.
I see your hand up, Brian.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, that the Ag Services Board, direct the manager, I guess we've already registered, but, register those who wish to attend.
All those in favor?
In favor?
Okay, that one's carried. Now we get to 7.8, the Northern Alberta Farm Family Awards.
So this one, if you remember, a few years ago, they quit doing the Farm Family Awards. So now the Alberta Association of Agricultural Societies has taken the reins on this one, and the program will persist going forward. So they did release a press release. The details on the program and how it's going to be run have not been released yet. So it says in cooperation with, or in partnership with municipalities as far as nominations. So I'm not sure if it'll just basically go back to how we were doing it before. If we have a farm family we want to nominate, we send the names in. Or if we work with our local ag society, it's kind of a little bit up in the air right now. But good news story is they're bringing them back. So that's good. And the ones, like, so for the south, they never did quit that. They always
Yeah.
carried it through. But, yeah, now these ones are going to be back up for the northern Alberta area.
Any more questions on that topic? I'll make a motion that the Ag Service Board accept September 15th AAS press release and information. Any discussion? All those in favor?
In favor?
In favor.
Okay, that one's carried. Next, we go through the farm beautification awards, nominees.
So we've only received 1 nomination so far. So I don't know if you have any other potential nominees in mind. If you do, we need to contact them right away so that we can get some photographs of their yards and such before they go completely bad for the winter or the fall. Yeah. You should have, but no, we can take, no, it's fine. I'm just pulling your leg. If they come from the board, we just verbally nominate typically.
Yeah, I'll just nominate Tom Govenlock. He's been working on that yard for a long time.
Okay.
So is there have you got a deadline for those nominations or?
3 weeks ago?
Tomorrow.
Weeks ago?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago would be great, but tomorrow. No, we just need to get, because
Just before the,
Pictures.
yeah,
it's the photographs that we need, right? Well, we don't need them. It just makes the presentation a little more
right.
personal if we can get some nice photos. For me, me as a gardener, I take pictures of everything all the time, but some other people don't. So if we can get, most of the time I just contact them and say, hey, do you have any pictures of your yard? You've been nominated. You can send me like half dozen or a dozen pictures, that'd be great. If they don't have any pictures, then I can get somebody to go out, myself or Sherry can go out and take some pictures.
Okay.
But at this point of the year, they're starting to get a little less pretty in the yards because things have come to the end of their life, right? Like a lot of
The leaves
flowers
are
and
on the
stuff.
ground.
A lot of leaves are on the ground, so I'm hoping if we have people that are nominated, they have taken pictures in the past. So.
Okay, we just then need a motion to move that one.
And are there any other suggestions from any members of the board? No?
To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't really had a chance to go and look or haven't heard anything about it, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess just something to keep in mind for next year too, is if you're out and about and you see something extraordinary, to kind of make a note of it, and you can send it to me at the time. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be during our nomination time. We can just say, hey, I saw this yard, and go from there.
Okay. So can we get a motion for forwarding those nominees to the manager as soon as possible?
I'll make the recommendation that the Ag Service Board forward the 2025 Rural Beautification Award nominees to the manager, Agricultural Services, as soon as possible.
Okay, not much discussion needed on that one. All those in favor?
In favor?
In favor.
Okay, that's carried. Okay, now how about the Ag Pioneer Award, 7.10?
And we have not had any.
We haven't had anyone.
Yeah,
I think we're running out of
They're
pioneers.
the pioneers, they gotta get older.
Well, that's one that, when I thought about that is that, we always considered pioneers being, the older people. But I think there's a lot of people in here that have been pioneers in innovation and doing things differently and new things. And as I drove around the community, I've watched that and I've seen, when somebody has tried something and they continue to try it, other people start to try it. And so I would suggest that, there's some pioneers, and I think one of them sitting in this room, who's actually been doing some pretty creative stuff on their farms. And I think that could be part of that definition now. What does everybody else think?
We discussed like rebranding this a couple of years ago, and then we all decided that was a bad idea. So, I don't know.
So, to that point, we have a policy coming up. We
Right.
call it the harvest.
Yeah,
So perhaps at that point, we can discuss changing things in that policy.
yeah. Yeah,
That
because
includes
I
the
mean,
pioneer policy.
because I think we really, you're really scrambling, most of the pioneers are, have been recognized because there's such a small farming community, and I think that's, taking away from some of these people that are doing some pretty unique stuff. And some of them are the older generation who's changed, the way that they're doing things, so.
Like an innovation.
Pardon me?
More like innovation.
Yeah,
Because that's what they recognize with the AAAS. is an
Okay.
innovation.
so how do we want to handle this one then? Because really, it's only information, so.
Yeah, I can make that motion, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Move that the ASB accepts the 2025 Agriculture Pioneer Awards report as info.
Okay, all those in favor of that?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to the 7.11, the Ag Society request.
I thought last year we Didn't we make a motion that
Yeah.
it was, like, this is always after the fact?
Yeah.
I thought we made a motion or something last year that we didn't have to do this or something.
The board doesn't have to prove it. I can approve the,
Yeah.
the letter now. This is just an information item for the board, just so you know that I did approve it. Yeah, that's
Okay,
all.
well,
So it's not an approval of
okay,
the
Yeah, yeah.
usage, because that's already been done.
Okay.
okay. I'll make a motion then that the Ag Service Board accept the Ag Society letter as information. And that gets us to 7.12, the harvest program.
So, we are currently doing our policy reviews. We're trying to amalgamate so we don't have so many policies. And I personally cannot take credit for the name. That was Matthew, 100%. So he combined our Ag Bursary Policy, our Pioneer Award, and our Rural Beautification Award into the Harvest, the Honoring Agricultural Resilience, Values, Excellent Stewardship, and Tradition policy. Harvest is much easier to say, clearly. But yeah, so he's taken and amalgamated those three policies into this one policy. So it still has all the, like if you look under the guidelines, it's got the Ag Pioneer recognition, like the purpose, the eligibility, and same with the rural beautifications, as well as the Ag Bursary. So those, that's another thing I was gonna. Okay, one of the other things in the budget was we were gonna think about looking at increasing our Ag Bursary from 500 to 1,000 instead of, because you can't really buy a book for $500. So,
Yeah, true.
so that's something I'll
So-
just tell you that right now.
Donna, I have a question. Sorry to jump in. So the last item that, or the one about the Pioneer Awards that we accepted as info because we were going to discuss their criteria. So in the guidelines in this harvest policy, it spells out what an agriculture pioneer recognition requirements are. And so we do have nominees must be 60 and must have actively farmed in the county for 30. Is that what you're suggesting that we may want to adjust?
Peter, that was your idea.
Peter's thinking now
I-
60's
You
not
know,
that
like,
bad.
I don't necessarily think that, you know, I think there's definitely, you know, that portion of it, because there's a lot of younger generation farmers that have been, you know, here now for 25 years, for example, that are gonna meet that criteria. I'm just curious whether we shouldn't add a criteria as well. And that is, people who are, you know, doing innovative and creative things that are not conventional, if you want to put it that way. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Do we need to add it, or do we, or like not make it a criteria, but make it just, like if you recognize the people, then you can say something about what they're doing or
Yeah.
something. You don't need to, it doesn't have to be a criteria. I don't know if that's what we wanted.
Because I mean, you know, when you read that, you know, they've been actively farming in Woodlands County for a minimum of 30 years. Yeah, that's okay.
Yep.
Priorities given to those currently residing in the county, those are okay. The one, you know, as you go through the rural beautification recognition and then the Ag Bursary and all of those, there really isn't anything in there for somebody who has started something that, you know, I don't know how you would do that.
Well, Peter, just to jump in, the fourth bullet point under the policy statement is, so there's Pioneer, Beautification, Ag Bursary, and then it says harvest recognition events. And when I scroll through the policy, I don't see that harvest recognition. Oh, sorry, here it is. Okay. So would that be an opportunity where you could profile these people and bring some recognition to them if they don't meet the Pioneer criteria?
Right. Yeah, because it does say in their broader excellence, innovation and leadership in rural and agricultural life. In the harvest, honoring the,
So have we always had that, or he's just randomly
That's,
created that?
that's just, kind of an amalgamation of all the policies and just kind of added that in as far as the.
so in a sense, it is there.
Newly.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, do we need to create a separate award, or could we, if something really cool was happening, really worthwhile, could we at, say, the ASB just say, hey, we want to bring attention to so-and-so for their operation and for these reasons?
Yep.
Peter? What I'm wondering is if we need to be advertising for this recognition event, the harvest, like advertise for the harvest person or however you want to put the words around that.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're advertising for the Pioneer Award. And so if we're in a position right now where we have no Pioneer Awards, but we have 5 Harvest Awards, well, that's fine. And we'll just put a cap on it. And I think the other interesting thing is that you could probably, if you end up with too many nominations, we can use them the next year. Like, I don't think that's necessarily going to be a problem.
Yep.
So maybe that's what we need to do right now is just run this recognition harvest award. And, yeah, here's Don.
Isn't
This is harvest includes
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Pioneer, the rural beautification, and the bursary. It's not a separate award. It's inclusive of all of these. So we're not gonna have a harvest award.
Gotcha.
per se.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That makes
The
sense?
harvest recognition is the supper.
Yeah, so our supper will now be called the
We
harvest
need to-
recognition.
In my mind, we need to add an extra, we need to add another, basically,
Another award.
another award to this. And I think that the Pioneer Award doesn't need to disappear, but it needs to be there. And when there's a person who meets the qualifications and is nominated, we do it. But I think the last couple of years, we've been really scraping to try and find people that fit all those criteria. And I think we've even kind of maybe looked away from those criteria at points to give the award away, so. Especially
Yeah, that's a good point.
if we got a brand new policy here, this would be the time to add something, wouldn't it, Don, or not really?
Or could we just rename perhaps the agriculture pioneer / innovation recognition?
But you got
And then
different,
the
you got way
Pioneer-
different criteria for your innovation than
Yeah.
you do the Pioneer. Like the Pioneer it's got its own criterion.
Mm-hmm.
This innovation thing is kind of just based, like it's gonna have to have its own criteria. Cause maybe they've only farmed for 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's very true.
Maybe they're only 50.
So to that end, you guys, can we send this back to the drawing board, Don? And is there a panic to pass this?
No, this, because we weren't, now it'll probably have to go to council because we're changing the intent.
Mm-hmm.
But previously, it was just gonna have to go back to Matthew because, it wasn't changing anything, it was just amalgamating.
Right.
So if we're gonna add in another award per se, we'll have to come up with the purpose, the criteria, or the eligibility and such. And then we can add it in, send it back to Matthew, which would then go to council.
Sure.
Is it-
I just think that it could be a long discussion today to try and
Yeah,
determine that criteria.
yeah.
Can we, it's probably too late to try and find somebody under the innovation things for this year, right? So can we do the harvest, like, make a motion to change the name to Harvest or whatever for now, and then also before next year comes around, make sure if there's something that we want.
Absolutely, because the policies are always going to be changing,
Yeah.
and we are supposed to be reviewing policies annually. So, yeah, we can put it in for.
Sure.
So before we get to this stage next year, we'll have it in place for next year, if that's what, you know.
Yep. Yep.
And we can do the research, bring it back to next meeting,
Yeah,
so that we've got all the information, and then
Yeah.
it can be in there for next year.
So two motions then, right? Motion number one, and then a motion to direct admin to come up with criteria for an innovation in agriculture for Woodlands County award.
Yeah, that would be the second motion.
Yeah, okay. So I'll make the first motion that the Ag Service Boards instruct administration to implement the discussed modifications to policy harvest.
Okay, any more discussion on that one? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, that one's carried. And motion two?
I guess I'll do that one too. Ag Service Board give direction to administration to come back to the ASB with criteria for a new award called Innovation in Agriculture.
Okay, any discussion on that one?
I just have a quick question.
Okay,
Maybe,
question on?
so we maybe have three motions then, because we can still present this motion to the CAO,
Right,
and then we're gonna come back with modifications like for next year.
okay.
Does that make sense?
so
Like we're
I'll second
still-
on this motion number 3 then.
Well, no, it can still be motion number two. Or we can do motion number three just to make Jen's life easier. Because we're still wanting to keep the policy right now, right?
Yes.
And then add the innovation award
Yeah.
once we've got the details are ironed out.
Yeah, I think that would serve as a third motion.
The one that Al just made, I'm thinking. Or
No, Al,
changing motion number.
Well, that
two.
was the intent of my motion, was to pass this harvest program.
right,
And then the second motion was to have administration come back to the ASB with a template for a new award.
so I think that covers it, right?
Well, but she wants to present it back to the CAO.
So could,
Oh, sorry.
well,
At your next meeting?
let's vote on that motion, and then we can do another one to send. You're saying, Don, you want to send the template that the board has looked at and approved to the CEO, or send it to the CEO first?
Well, so we've looked at this one now. We don't have any changes to this current policy, right? But we're wanting to add the innovation in the 2026 version. Is that what I'm getting? Or do you want to add it for this year to be implemented next year?
I think potentially it could be implemented this year. It's, I agree with Greg that there's probably not a rush, but if it comes back to us and we agree with the criteria and we make a recommendation to council, council can then amend the policy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll take it back to our CAO and say, this is what the plan is. And then
Okay,
let them know that that's coming.
so,
And-
Jen, could you read us back
I'm
motion?
sorry, I'm confused,
Okay.
because I'm very confused here. Okay, so the first motion is that the Agriculture Services Board instruct administration to implement the discussed modifications to policy harvest.
Yep, that one's passed.
Okay, but there's no modifications in that first motion.
Right.
There have been no
Because-
modifications to the
Because now
policy.
this
Oh, okay, yeah,
modifications
yeah.
you're talking about is actually in that first motion. If
But we don't know how to modify it. We can't we can't
Correct.
suggest a modification if we don't know it. So we're going to accept this one, and then we're going to come up with a criteria that we all agree on, and then ask council to amend the policy.
Okay, so that would be the second motion. The service board direct administration to, how would you say, how did you say that, Al? You did say.
I think I said develop a criteria for a new award called Innovation in Agriculture.
we have to put it in there under the harvest?
I would say
Well,
yes,
no, we're
because
not.
all of the recognitions are going under this policy, right?
So would we say then that, you know, that we could develop the criteria for a new,
New
award
award.
under innovation and creation for the harvest
For-
program?
For potential inclusion into the harvest, into policy, the harvest policy.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would, does that make sense, Jen? You're getting there. Okay, just read it back to
She'll
us.
make it
Sure,
make
the map
sense.
to understand is that we like really respect the Agriculture Pioneer Award and we don't wanna trash it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just becoming a bit irrelevant right now.
Yep.
And I think with time, it'll
It'll
come
be
back.
back.
There'll
It'll
be,
come back.
people will start
Yeah.
aging.
Eventually, you'll be sitting in this chair.
And I think he is aware
Good
of
times
that. I
coming.
don't think he is even suggesting that we get rid of it. I do believe he.
Well, but he might be like wondering why we wanna add another award, kind of, and that would be the reason, like.
Well, that's all in the presentation for me. Which
Yeah,
would be
that's your job,
amazing.
Don.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think you have it yet, Jen?
I gotta change the first motion.
Okay.
So the first motion was that the Agricultural Services Board accept policy harvest, correct?
Right?
Okay. And the second motion was that the Agricultural Services Direct Administration to gather new criteria for innovation in agriculture award.
So it'll be completely separate award. I agree with you, Ryan.
Okay. And then, sorry, what was the other part of this one? That you wanted to include it in the harvest?
For inclusion.
Yeah, that is-
For inclusion.
For
in the
potential, yeah.
Yeah.
Potential inclusion.
Potential inclusion in the harvest program.
Okay, got it.
So just speaking to the motion, help me understand the process. What I think happens is this board makes a recommendation to council and then council reviews it.
Right.
I don't know why the CEO would get involved in a recommendation from this board to council.
He wouldn't. The only reason he's involved in this policy is because we're not changing the policy where we need council approval. We would just need the CAO's sign
Sure,
off on
okay,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then, so we approve this, and that's what motion number 2 in the RFD says, and then this motion that we're talking about right now is gonna change the policy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
then
that
it'll
would
go to
then
council.
go to council, and council would decide yes or no.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, I think this motion probably should have been the third motion, but as long as everybody understands what's going on.
I'm clear as mud on that one.
So we have a motion on the table.
Yeah. Is there any more discussion? And Jen, have you been able to can you read that out to us again? Just
Okay, so motion number 2 is that the Agricultural Services Board direct administration for new criteria for innovation and agriculture award for potential inclusion in the harvest policy.
Yeah, I think that lays it out pretty good. Is there any more discussion on that motion that you made, Al?
Not for me.
Like I said, just-
Okay, so I'll call the question then. All those in favor?
In favor?
We would approve.
In favor.
Good. All right, we got through that one. Let us have a look at the policy for predator control.
We still have to do motion 2 in the RFD.
To take it back to the policy that's as it stands, to go back
Okay,
to our CAO.
I'll do, I motion that the Agriculture Services Board direct administration to present the revised policy to the Chief Administrative Officer for approval.
okay, any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
In favor?
Okay, that one is carried. Now we go to the predator control.
this one is really no changes, it's just a matter of reformatting. I don't think there is anything significant in this policy.
No.
It's just a reformat of the existing policy. Just a simple,
I don't see, I went through it, I don't see any,
This is our own municipality one,
Yep.
like, not the Alberta. So, but coyotes still aren't in here, are they?
coyotes are the only thing that's in here. Cause we can't do predator control on, wolves. So
Wolves,
bear, anything like that, is coyotes
Cats.
are the only thing.
the only one we have is coyotes.
So the Alberta one is the other animals?
Yes.
So this is our own, have we always had this one?
Yep.
Know that,
Where we,
because Alberta doesn't include coyotes,
no, and that's why, cause that's a municipality
okay?
level one. Because we do have, toxicant tablets that we can give out to people that are that have had a kill from a coyote. And we don't do a lot of it. What I try to do is work with the producer first to make sure that they're not leaving like dead stock around and making it a really like a banquet for the coyotes to come in, basically. So, and then if they're still having issues with when they get their coyotes and like calves hitting the ground and coyotes are right there, then that's a problem. So then we can help them alleviate that.
Okay,
But that's the only predator that we are able to deal
you
with.
got something for ravens?
No,
Yeah, they peck eyes out and stuff too.
they are gross beings.
They're way worse than
They are
coyotes in our front
nasty,
anyhow.
yes.
Yep.
Yes. We had that discussion at the What a Waste workshop actually about ravens. So,
Okay, so we need, on that one, we need 2 motions, I believe.
Yeah, I'll make the motion number 1 that the Ag Service Board instruct administration to implement the discussed modifications to policy ISA 6007 predator control.
Okay, any discussion on that? All those in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, that's carried.
I guess I'll do number 2 as well then.
Okay,
That the Ag Service Board direct administration to present the revised policy to Chief Administrative Officer for approval.
okay, all those in favor of that motion?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, that one's carried. Now we will go to the vegetation management roadside cleanup policy, and I believe that one belongs to Jeff.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of ASB. Before you is the revised or proposed policy for vegetation management and roadside cleanup. As part of our regular policy review this year, we identified 5 policies that all to do with the roadside. It's how we manage the portion of land that's inside the road right away, but other than the road top. So we identified 5 policies. 2 of them are ASB policies, and 3 of them are infrastructure policies. And the 2 from ASBs are vegetation management, as well as haying in the road right away. The 3 from infrastructure are the brushing, the roadside grass seeding, as well as the annual roadside cleanup. We just thought it's the best idea to combine all 5 into single policy. It's easier for people to find if a landowner is looking for a topic on the what do we do in the roadside. It's one single stop shop for them to go and come and grab this policy. And that's the idea behind it. Try to consolidate all 5 into one, because they all related to the same sort of location of asset. Now, in terms of update, we reviewed all 5 policies. 4 of them, so namely the vegetation management, haying, roadside brushing, as well as roadside grass seeding. We're not proposing any drastic changes or any changes at all. We're basically taking the opportunity to take the appendices and procedural statements out of the policy and put into a procedure. I think when it comes to policy update, we try to keep the policy on a 5-year review cycle, and the policy should be focused on our relationship between the county and the external parties like our ratepayers, whereas the procedure should be focused more on how do we manage the internal workings, and also what kind of templates do we use, what kind of standard do we use. So we're taking this opportunity of separating the policy into a policy and a procedure. For example, if there are agreement templates when it comes to haying and roadside spraying, there's no point to house that agreement template, which is in ideal case an application package, inside of policy. The challenge of putting in policy is, let's say there's a legislation change from the province, I have to go back to council every time there's a change to make a change in policy. Whereas if we leave in procedure, it's easier for the CEO to make a change, or even better, if we leave as part of an application package, then the staff through legal advice, we can make changes to our agreement templates. So out of the 4, the vegetation management, the haying, the brushing, and roadside grass seeding, it's mainly just a separation of the documents into 2 separate entities. Now the roadside cleanup is we're proposing some more substantive changes. Number 1, we're still taking this opportunity to separate into a policy and a procedure, and number 2, I have previously updated council that the province does not compensate county for county landowners cleaning garbage out of secondary highways and primary highways. I tried my best to negotiate 50% recovery for 2025, but the province told me that this is a one-time favor. They're not going to do that. Then my drawback position is, well, if province is not paying county for cleaning garbage out of provincial highways, which is under provincial mandate, why is the county continue to do so? And the province point out to me that if that's the case, then the landowners, community groups should be entering into agreement with the province directly, so that way the local volunteer groups can receive compensation directly from the province. For volunteer groups, it's the proposed policy change isn't substantive because they still receive the same amount of money. It's just that instead of they register with the county, they now have to register with the province. I do know that if they're registered with the county, we provide insurance coverage, and that's one thing I do not 100% clear on whether the province will extend insurance coverage for those municipal groups or volunteer groups. But either way, we are recommending the changes to the roadside cleanup policy just to be clear in our roles and responsibilities. And as I said, if the province already made the decision, they don't want to compensate the county for essentially a flow-through cost, then I recommend the county don't proceed or don't continue with such a practice. That's kind of the summary of the 5 policies that we reviewed and the draft policy. I'm open to any questions you may have.
Okay, so are there any questions for Jeff on this proposed?
Yeah, sorry, Peter, I have one. I don't quite understand the dividing it into policy and procedure. I look at the policy, is there procedure in this policy, or is there going to be another document that indicates procedure?
There is, through the chair, Councillor, there is a procedure document attached in the attachments.
Oh, sorry, Jeff, I missed that. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, the overall intent is the procedure is easier for staff to change. It requires CEO to sign. I think the CEO does intend to post the procedures at some later point. We're not there yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any more questions for Jeff?
So Jeff, basically, so like when the 4-H does the roadside cleanup, used to be that the municipality covered the insurance if something happened, and now there is no insurance because it's going through provincial?
I'm not 100% sure whether the province will extend their self-insurance onto the volunteer groups. I can get a confirmation from them, but currently when, let's say, a community group is registered with the county and doing for provincial highway, the county is providing that coverage to the municipal group, even though it was outside our mandate.
Okay. So I guess they gotta make sure that their provincial covers them before they start doing all this.
Or if those volunteer groups carry their own insurance.
Yeah. Well, I don't think 4-H groups have their own insurance, but I don't know. We'll have to make sure. Okay, thank you.
All right. On that subject then, if there's no more questions for Jeff, I will be seeking a motion.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, if I can.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Dawn just texted me saying that she spotted a typo on the procedure. I'll get that corrected before going to council. It's a misspelling.
Hey, Peter, I'll make the motion to send this to council.
Dave?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to send this policy to council.
Okay, Dave makes a motion that the Ag Service Board direct administration to present the revised policy to council. Any more discussion on that motion? If not, all those in favor?
In favor?
In favor.
Okay, that one's carried. Thank you very much, Jeff,
Thank you.
for presenting that this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so now we will go down to 8.1, which is the correspondence and information items, which is all of the good stuff from the different municipalities that are in a disaster situation, which is very interesting. There's been a lot of them this year.
I think almost the entire piece.
Yeah, the
It's
entire
all-
piece. And I guess this is a really good indicator of why we're seeing the trucks going north with forage this year rather than coming from the north going south. So I will just ask for a motion then, unless there's any questions or comments from the board, to have that accepted as information as circulated.
Hey, Peter, I'll move the information items as circulated.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. All those ones in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, that one's carried. So that brings us to motion for number 9. Oh, just a
Chair,
minute.
before you make that motion, our next meeting is scheduled for November 11th.
Oh, boy, no good.
So no, it's no bueno. So we'll have to change that date if we could. Not sure what you have on your schedules.
Have a schedule yet. 'Cause it
Yeah,
needs-
that's all going to be after election.
Oh,
Everything
right.
changes, so
Rats.
I think
Okay.
that, we probably are going to have to kind of
Play it by
play
ear.
that one by ear. So,
We will shoot for it like close to within that week if we possibly can.
okay. So that will probably be a discussion that you will have to have at the organizational
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
Your meeting.
Or send it out to the board members that are appointed.
Yeah, just do a doodle poll after the org meeting.
You guys love doodle polls, don't you?
Yeah.
They're easy.
They are easy, actually.
Okay, then I will ask for the final motion. Ryan?
Motion to adjourn the meeting at 11:15.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
In
In
favor.
Okay, that motion's carried. Thank you guys very much for the discussion this morning. That was good. And